24. AEW hyped up Jon Moxley, the world champion, seizing the Superstation TBS. What happened? More on that in just a few moments. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your continued viewership and support. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get to the recap. We kicked off Dynamite with a tag team match. Christian Cage and Hangman Adam Page versus Juice Robinson and Jay White. We had some egos coming into play. Christian tagging himself in, then Adam Page tagging himself back in. But eventually, Page and Cage were on the same page. And they worked together. You had Nick Wayne on the outside of the ring. He was interfering. But eventually, Hook showed up. Hook was able to take Nick Wayne out of the equation, but unfortunately, it was not enough for the Bang Bang Gang. You had things break down. Juice Robinson was going at it, and he was building up momentum. But then, after Jay White took out Christian with the Blade Runner into the barricade, Mother Wayne appeared on the apron, and Kip Sabian used the not Money in the Bank contract, hit Juice with it, and then Adam Page was able to pick up the win with the Deadeye. So, bad guys win with the outside interference. Match was good. Solid match here. And yes, Juice Robinson was clearly the one that was going to eat the pin in this match. He didn't even lose to the Buckshot Lariat. He lost to the Deadeye. That's how you know you're bottom tier. By the way, I haven't been watching Collision. What happened to the Guns? Where are they at? I'm not sure if anything was said on commentary. If there was a mention of them, I missed it. I was wondering what happened to the Guns. But anyways, nice opener, good match. Helped build up Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White. Page picks up a little bit of momentum heading into the pay-per-view. Now backstage, Mercedes Moné was interviewed, and she was asked about the attempted car assault on Chris Statlander last week, and Mercedes said Camille just doesn't know how to drive. She started yelling at Camille. I'm not sure what's up here with this storyline. I mean, it seems to me like Ted DiBiase and Virgil, where Ted DiBiase would just put down Virgil and eventually Virgil had enough. It feels like a repeat of that. I mean, Camille really feels like not a threat at all. She's supposed to be the bodyguard, and she feels more like Mr. Hughes than Big Daddy Cool Diesel. But yeah, you had Chris Statlander showing up, and she attacked both of them, and she ended up spearing both of them through one of those cardboard cutout walls, which it did look cool, but the problem with AEW is that they immediately cut away from this. Like, it was just a nothing segment. Somebody gets speared through a wall, like you'd be showing replays of it and showing the aftermath of them maybe being taken out in an ambulance or something, but no. Spear through the wall, we quickly cut away, and that's the last we ever heard about it. So it's like, you blinked and you missed it. Just seemed pointless to me if you're going to do a spot like that and not make a big deal out of it. We had Will Ospreay in the ring with Tony Schiavone, and Will Ospreay had Tony Schiavone step aside, and he called out Kyle Fletcher. Kyle came to the ring, and that was the last we saw of Tony Schiavone in this segment. Here's another thing. Back in the day, you had guys like Tony Schiavone doing the in-ring interviews, and they were there for the duration. I feel like Tony Schiavone is always being sent away. He's in the ring, he introduces the guy, and then he's gone. I mean, what's the point of even having Tony Schiavone do that if you're never going to actually have him be in the ring for the duration of the segment? I want to give a shout out to Dylan Hensley, RD Beats, who sent in a very generous $10 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It says, "Hey Aaron, just wanted to promote AAPW and that we were forced to relocate. So far, we haven't found a new place yet, so we at AAPW would appreciate support from you guys." We'll definitely check out Dylan's YouTube channel. I'm sure he can give you more information. Dylan, if you have a website or a place people can go for more information, I would be happy to pass that along to everybody. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for stopping by here tonight for the live stream. Let's talk about Kyle Fletcher. He got in the ring. We had a back and forth on the mic between these two. And Ospreay brought up their history, how close they've been. And you had Fletcher responded by calling Ospreay selfish, said he was a hypocrite. By the way, I forgot to mention, when Kyle came out there, Will knew that Kyle had a screwdriver and had him get rid of it. And Ospreay actually got the screwdriver and tossed it out of the ring, and it landed right, it punctured right into the mat. So that was kind of cool. Anyways, back to the segment here. Fletcher brought up how Ospreay screwed over people like Kenny Omega back in the day, and Ospreay did admit this, but talked about all of his accomplishments that he did before that. And he said that what has Kyle Fletcher done other than being in a tag team? Fletcher decided to challenge Will Ospreay to a match at Full Gear. Will Ospreay obviously accepted the match. Then Fletcher brought out Brian Cage and Lance Archer. Ospreay was not alone. He had friends too. He brought out his buddies, Mark Davis and Powerhouse Hobbs. We had a brawl with all of them. Then Roderick Strong showed up for his Falls Count Anywhere match with Lance Archer. I liked how they did this. I liked the transition from the promo segment into the match. I thought this was well done. They had this Falls Count Anywhere match. They were brawling all over the place. Brian Cage was getting involved because he can. Anything goes. You had the Kingdom coming out there to make the save, but Matt Taven ended up being choke slammed onto a bunch of security guards off this barricade by Lance Archer, and the crowd was chanting "Holy shit!" Strong was able to fight back. He used the steel chair, and then he got the 1-2-3 victory. No surprise here. I mean, in AEW, if you're a big guy, you're usually not going over. Plus, they're setting up Roderick Strong for the pay-per-view. And it was fine for what it was. Now, afterwards, Konosuke Takeshita showed up, and he attacked Roderick Strong, and then Adam Cole came down for his match with Takeshita. So I like how they did this transition too. I thought this was a nice little change of pace to give the show a little bit more of an unpredictable feeling. So we had this match now, Adam Cole and Takeshita. Cole's music kept playing as he cleared the ring. He could do his taunts. You know, that was a nice way to do that. So he could do the Adam Cole baby and the boom. And the match continued on. It was competitive, back and forth between these two. Takeshita was able to counter the Panama Sunrise. He took out Cole with a lariat. Cole kicked out of that. Cole was able to avoid Takeshita's knee strike. He finally hit the Panama Sunrise, but then Takeshita rolled to the outside to avoid the boom shot, and as Takeshita was on the outside, he revealed that he had in possession MJF's Dynamite Diamond ring. Remember, MJF made a deal with the Don Callis family, and he used the Dynamite Diamond ring and picked up the victory over Adam Cole. So Adam Cole is out, and it's now just a singles match. If Adam Cole had won, it would have been a triple threat, but now it's just MJF versus Roderick Strong one-on-one at Full Gear. Hey, look, I like Roderick Strong. He's a good wrestler, but this is not a pay-per-view match as far as I'm concerned. Triple threat, I'll let that slide, but one-on-one, I feel like it's beneath MJF to be doing this match on a pay-per-view. Even though the match will be good, it really should be a triple threat. Now, of course, we got 2 more weeks until Full Gear. Not really 2 weeks. More like 1 more Dynamite. That's really all we got. Yeah, we got 1 more Dynamite. It could change. They could have some kind of ruling, or Adam Cole gets 1 more shot. But, I mean, the triple threat was interesting. The one-on-one match, MJF should beat him. But, yeah, maybe there'll be more to this. If it's just the one-on-one match, it's kind of a letdown. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, there may be more to it. Now, we had MJF at his house. I wonder if they just filmed all these segments in one session and just aired them over the course of several weeks. He's there, he's laughing. I'm ready for MJF to be back on the shows. Like, I feel like he's losing steam not being a fixture on programming. And obviously, he's been busy. He did the Adam Sandler movie. Now, Roderick Strong, attacked Takeshita after the match was over. Takeshita gave him a low blow. Then Kyle O'Reilly made the save. Ricochet then showed up on the stage and took a shot at Takeshita. Held up the which title is it? International or Continental, one of those titles. Isn't Okada the Continental? I think Takeshita's the International. I get them confused. There's too many titles now. I don't even know what's what. But one of those titles, Ricochet held up. I don't think he's going to win the title. But we'll talk about predictions coming up next week. And back in the ring, we had like a little teaser of an Undisputed Era reunion. Adam Cole went in for the handshake with Kyle O'Reilly, but Kyle turned him down. Kyle left the ring. He still has some bad blood with Adam Cole, and I guess we'll see where things go from there. And I agree with Retro. MJF is the top guy. I mean, Ospreay's right there too, but still their guy. He's their MVP, even though they got MVP. So yeah, I don't know why they're not focusing on him other than he's just been busy. But hopefully by Full Gear and after Full Gear, MJF is back to being a fixture on TV. Now, shout out to Oofman. Much love to Oof. He says, if MJF is still filming Happy Gilmore 2, then that means he's here in Jersey. They are currently filming the movie in his hometown of Kearney, New Jersey. I thought MJF's parts were done, but maybe not. I mean, there might have been something else he was doing. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, Full Gear and beyond, hopefully he's back in as a regular fixture on AEW programming. And, you know, that's a great role for him to be in that Adam Sandler movie. But yeah, we really need him back in full swing, doing some crazy things and, you know, making Dynamite must-see V. Like, I still think back to that promo and a lot of his promos. The one where he called out Tony Khan, but so many of his promos were great TV moments. And, yeah, he's definitely missed being a regular on the show. We had the Hurt Syndicate interviewed backstage, and they talked about making an example out of Swerve Strickland coming up at Full Gear. And then we had the big moment where Jon Moxley was going to seize the Superstation TBS. The Death Riders showed up, and they were showing everybody what they're all about by attacking DJ Drake, or JD Drake, whatever his name is. I don't even know his name. This is how they set an example here, by beating up this random workhorseman guy. So the Death Riders come in the ring. Moxley hypes up the match, says they're going to continue to have the power. And then Orange Cassidy showed up with Mark Briscoe and Rocky Romero. And Orange Cassidy cut this promo. He talked about how he beat Moxley before. He's going to take the power back, but he has to get rid of a few pawns first. So he officially challenged Wheeler Yuta to a match on next week so he can get rid of the pawn in order to take the king. Moxley told Orange Cassidy to abandon all hope, and then they left. They went through the crowd, but guess who was there? Darby Allin. Darby Allin attacked them, jumped off the balcony. There was a brawl, and then the Death Riders were able to flee, run away again. They got into their truck, but Darby was already in the truck. He popped out of the back of the truck, attacked Claudio. Claudio managed to get the upper hand. He gave Darby the big swing right into the driveway door. And then he got back in the truck. Yuta jumped in, and they were finally able to make their escape. And Darby got up, and he was all pissed. He's like, I'm still standing. Well, that's what the Death Riders do. They kind of get the upper hand, and then they take off. So the spot with Darby was cool. I wonder if they're going to do that match, Claudio versus Darby. I mean, wouldn't shock me. We need 12 matches for Full Gear, and we only have 7. We got to have that 12th match, right? So there you go. Segment was fine. I really don't care about Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. I feel like on paper this might be the weakest pay-per-view world title match that AEW has put on to date, but it'll be good. It'll be really good, but hype-wise, I'm just not feeling it, and I really don't think there's any chance Orange Cassidy's winning the title. Nor do I think he should. Really, it should be a Dynamite TV match, but that's just my opinion. And backstage, Chris Jericho was interviewed, and he accepted Ishii's challenge for the Ring of Honor title in 2 weeks on Dynamite in Chicago. And I guess they had a match in Chicago a couple years ago, back in 2022. I mean, they've had quite a few matches, and Jericho's chest was bleeding in that one. And I feel like we've seen this match several times, so I'm really over it. It's the same routine. They're going to chop each other. Ishii's going to, be hard as nails and not sell anything, and Jericho might be bleeding again. It's kind of like the same match every time. So I don't really have that much interest in it. I mean, I don't care about the Ring of Honor title. He's going to teach Ishii a learning tree lesson. Whatever. I don't care. We had Britt Baker versus Penelope Ford. 9:15, the usual women's time slot. Match was all right. I mean, they did botch something pretty bad. There was a cutter spot that they were off on. Britt put on the glove for the lockjaw. Penelope took advantage of that, hit her with a drop kick, and then applied a submission, but Britt was able to counter it with the lockjaw, got the win, and then Serena Deeb appeared on the stage, so I guess Serena Deeb is feuding with Britt Baker now. Don't really know much else about that. If there was something else that happened on Collision or Rampage that I'm missing, but yeah, they're feuding. Then backstage, we had Renee Paquette with Mina Shirakawa, who's back, and yep, she likes to show herself off. And then Harley Cameron came in, and they were both talking about themselves and hyped up a match for Collision. And Harley said, "May the breast woman win." So there you go. I mean, maybe there's a good reason to watch Collision on Saturday. We had Swerve Strickland versus Lio Rush. Interesting match here, considering Shelton Benjamin beat Lio Rush, and then Swerve Strickland beat Shelton Benjamin. So if you look at it that way, Swerve Strickland should have no problem wiping the floor with Lio Rush. Well, no. Lio Rush was very competitive in this match. Nearly beat Swerve Strickland, who has been through everything, you know. He's had needles stuck in his mouth, and he's come back from it. So Lio, tried to go for the eyes. Swerve fought him off. Then Swerve got up top. Lio knocked him off. And then Lio gave Swerve a poison rana on the floor, which the crowd popped big for. They chanted, "This is awesome." He got him back in the ring. Tried to finish off Swerve with another poison rana, but Swerve was able to counter it. I mean, Lio did try some dirty tactics. He attempted to win with his hand on the rope, but Prince Nana said, "Nana," and told the referee what was going on. Match continued, and then Swerve was eventually able to get the win with big pressure. So, again, Lio Rush got in a lot of offense, but still lost to big pressure and not the Swerve stomp. But I do like that Swerve's winning with some different moves. I do think that's a positive. And then after the match was over, Swerve got on the mic and said that he's going to have to remind everyone whose house it is. And he had a message for Bridgeport, Connecticut, where Dynamite was, except he didn't say Bridgeport, Connecticut. He said Stamford, Connecticut, which is the home of WWE headquarters, and not, in fact, Bridgeport, Connecticut. The crowd booed this, and they pretty much hijacked the rest of the segment. So you had Lashley called out. Lashley and MVP showed up on the stage. Crowd was chanting, "This is Bridgeport," as MVP was talking. And then Shelton Benjamin showed up, attacked Swerve from behind. Rest of the Hurt Syndicate got in the ring, and the crowd was still chanting Bridgeport during this beatdown segment. It was supposed to be a segment where the Hurt Syndicate was getting this serious heat, but the crowd was still pissed off about the Bridgeport mess up. So, yeah, this segment could have gone off better. And then Prince Nana was forced to watch the beatdown. Lashley left him laying with the Hurt Lock. I thought it was a good beatdown segment, but unfortunately, Swerve's screw-up will probably be what people remember from this segment. Backstage, Jamie Hayter was talking about coming back for one thing, but before we could get that answer, we had a Julia Hart interruption. So they're doing video packages for her coming back. There was one on Collision with her in a field. She had her old cheerleader get up on, and then in this segment, she was like having a nightmare or something. It looked like something straight out of a horror movie. I thought it was a pretty good little vignette here for her, and we'll have to see what Jamie Hayter was talking about on a future show. And then we had the main event, Virtue's here. Virtue's got his opinions on Dynamite, so there you go. We had FTR versus Malachi Black and Brody King. This was a qualifying match. There's going to be a four-way tag team title match at Full Gear. Private Party defending against the Outrunners. They're getting a pay-per-view spot. Good for them. And then the winners of this match, and then I think a fourth team will will fill that last spot. So anyways, back and forth match here. Brody was in. He dominated for a while. Then FTR made a comeback. They hit the Shatter Machine to Brody, but Malachi was able to pull Brody to the outside. Then FTR took out Malachi Black with a spike pile driver on the apron, but then Brody came from in the ring to the outside with a dive to both FTR members. He got them back in the ring, and Brody hit 2 lariats to Dax Harwood. Harwood kicked out, and then Brody put on a sleeper, and that was it. Dax didn't tap out. He actually just passed out. He passed out from the sleeper submission. House of Black wins. Malachi Black picks up a victory. How about that? And then afterwards, they showed some sportsmanship. I guess House of Black are baby faces now. They helped up FTR, and sportsmanship all around. House of Black advances. It was a good main event to what I thought was a decent show, but definitely some issues that I had with it. I'd probably go with a C+, and that doesn't mean I think it was a bad show, but it was okay. Decent build-up for Full Gear. I still feel like there's an issue with the Moxley and Orange Cassidy match. Like, I just don't buy Orange Cassidy as having a shot at winning the title. I mean, that's one issue I have with that. I am looking forward to Bobby Lashley versus Swerve, but unfortunately, and this is nobody else's fault but Swerve's making that screw up with the Stamford line. You know, that kind of hurt that segment. Yeah, we'll see what they come up with next week, but I feel like next week they gotta go hard with the go home show. They gotta hype up these matches. They gotta do a heavy angle to really sell these pay-per-view matches, because right now, like, this feels like one of the weakest AEW cards, and not talking in match quality. I'm just talking about overall hype for the show. I'm just not feeling it. Like, if this wasn't my job to buy the pay-per-view and cover it for no DQ, I would skip this one. 100% I would skip this show. I would not spend $50 on it. So, you know, we'll see what happens, what they can do next week, if they can put together some strong angles to sell people on Full Gear. And that's it. C+, decent show, but I'm hoping for better next week. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Shout out again to Dylan Hensley and Oof for their super chats. Much appreciated. And thank you to everybody else for tuning in tonight and sticking along. I know Dynamite has seen a bit of a decline in popularity, but I appreciate you guys still watching the videos and still checking out the recaps, and I'm hoping they can turn things around and get some buzz going for not just Full Gear but for upcoming events as well. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and I'll be back. We'll see what happens with the Bloodline and Survivor Series and what they're doing with that. That will be Friday night right here on the No DQ channel. Take care, everybody. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.